I'm going to walk you through a dead simple way to turn any podcast episode into a week's worth of TikTok and Instagram clips without opening a timeline or playing whack-a-mole with export settings. We're talking about the part after you hit stop, the messy, boring, soul-sucking post-production grind done in minutes. You take your long episode, drop it in, it pulls the best hooks automatically, builds clean vertical cuts with captions, swaps in motion backgrounds so nothing feels static, and then lines everything up on a content calendar so you're actually posting on a schedule. Agencies sell this exact outcome for $1,000 to $2,000. And honestly, the value isn't coding a fancy pipeline. It's nailing the after, editing, packaging, and publishing on autopilot. If you've ever tried to squeeze shorts out of a long conversation, you already know the pain. Scrubbing an hour-long episode to find the 10 moments that won't die on contact. Cutting trims that don't clip words, resizing to 9:16, reframing faces so foreheads aren't amputated, finessing captions so they aren't covering mouths, exporting 6 times because the first 4 look crunchy, writing social copy that doesn't read like a robot, uploading to 5 platforms, and then forgetting to hit post on 2 of them because life happened. That's not a strategy. That's burnout in a trench coat. What we're doing instead is replacing the entire back half with a flow that starts the second you finish recording and ends with posts scheduled across your socials, without duct tape, without midnight renders, without the "I'll just do it tomorrow" lie. Here's how the sane version looks when you keep everything in one place. I use Vizard for this because it focuses on post-production instead of trying to be a generator that writes your show for you. I upload the episode, YouTube link, or the raw file, and I don't babysit anything. Vizard analyzes the full conversation, not just keywords, but the shape of the moments. Clean hooks, punchlines, mic drop lines. Those, wait, roll that back, takes that stop a scroll. It slices the episode into multiple vertical clips, adds smart captions that match speech timing, not those karaoke blocks that lag behind your mouth, and hands me a tray of options to pick from. A 60-minute episode reliably becomes 10 to 12 shorts in minutes. That alone is worth its weight in Saturdays. From there, the post-production is more taste decisions than technical punishment. I open the first clip and adjust the crop per platform so my guest's chin doesn't vanish. And so the speaker's eyes land on the upper third where your eyes go on a phone. I restyle captions to match my brand. Font weight, highlight colour, stroke thickness, so they read clean on low brightness screens. If the moment's a little dense, I'll punch 3 words in the subtitle to steer attention. For slower beats, I'll layer subtle motion background. Soft, B-roll, abstract textures, anything with a gentle parallax, so the frame isn't static while the hook builds. If the energy is high, I'll go the opposite way, and let captions do the heavy lifting on a tight crop. I'm not keyframing line breaks or rebuilding lower thirds. Vizard gives me the guardrails, so the make it mine layer is 2 minutes, not 20. The scheduling side is where this stops being nice and becomes mandatory. The content calendar inside Vizard is the difference between I posted 3 times this week and I post twice a day, every weekday, without thinking about it. I lay out my next 7 days at a glance, drag to reorder, so Monday gets the snappier cold open and midweek gets a nerdy insight, and I can see if I accidentally stacked 3 thinky clips in a row. Titles and social captions are right there in the same view, and I can tweak the on-screen title so it says what the viewer's brain reads in half a second. When it looks good, auto-schedule is the switch that keeps your feed alive while you're on planes, in meetings, or binging grim detective shows. Tell it 2 per day at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Pick the platforms and walk away. No airdropping files to your phone, no juggling upload flows, no shoot, I forgot to post on Shorts. Let me put a real example on the table so this isn't abstract. Last week's episode ran 58 minutes. I dropped the file in, grabbed coffee, and came back to 14 clips waiting with captions already burned in and transcripts attached. I skimmed them in grid view, favorited 9, opened 3 to adjust crops and swap a background, and rewrote 2 titles to be punchier. That took maybe 15 minutes. I dragged the 9 into the calendar, set 2 a day for 4 days, turned on auto-schedule and closed the laptop. Total time invested after recording. Under 25 minutes. Total posts lived that week. 9. No export hell, no frantic uploads, no "we'll post tomorrow." That's the game. You still get to be creative in the parts that matter, but the slog vanishes. Now, there are a few micro moves during the post-production pass that compound your results without adding pain. First, protect the first 3 seconds like your rent depends on it. Lead with the hardest line, the hot take, the no way stat, or a fast cutaway that jolts the pattern. If the gold is buried after a sentence of throat clearing, trim the preamble and let captions carry context. Second, vary your composition across the batch so the feed doesn't become wallpaper. Alternate between tight talking head, dual frame with guest reaction, a B-roll heavy cut with captions leading the eye, and a split-screen moment if the dialogue has a volley. Third, tune captions for scanning. People read the shape, not the paragraph. Bold or colour the hook phrase, time the break to fall on meaning, and let the punctuation breathe where the ear expects it. This is a 2-minute pass in Visit, not a subtitle torture session. Fourth, write the on-screen title like a promise. How to steal your first 100 customers, ethically, lands harder than customer acquisition. You're not writing a book spine, you're labelling a dopamine hit. If you've got guests who pace or gesture big, let the smart captions carry the continuity and avoid jump zooming every breath. It reads chaotic. If your show alternates between spicy and reflective segments, stagger your calendar so each day gets at least one high-energy piece. If you're pushing to reels and shorts, don't invent new rules. Keep the opening line tight. Adjust crops if a platform frames UI differently, and let auto-schedule do the rest. If you're tempted to sit on your best bit for Friday, don't. Front-load value, build trust, and let consistency work compounding interest for you. Now, inevitably, someone asks, couldn't I glue a bunch of tools together and get the same result? You can. You can pass your episode through one app for captions, export, rebuild it in a full editor to finesse crops, drag the files into a scheduler, and then manually change everything that never lined up correctly. It works in the same way repairing your faucet with duct tape works. It's fragile, slow, and it breaks the second you have a heavy week. I've done the API-heavy version too. It's fun to demo and not fun to keep alive. The nicest thing I did for my sanity was to pick a tool that is unapologetically about the after. Visid is not trying to invent your voice. It's built to give your existing voice a reach. Auto-editing viral clips that actually finds and cuts watchable moments. An editor that makes peelish fast instead of fussy. A calendar where the whole week is visible. An auto-schedule so your plan survives contact with real life. If you work with a team or clients, this is where the post-production first approach really pays off. Your editor doesn't need to chase asset folders. They log in, see the batch, and know what's scheduled. The reviewer can reorder, leave a note, or green light without playing export V7 final MP4. If someone asks for bigger captions and a tighter crop, you're 2 minutes from done, not 2 hours from a re-render. If a brand post needs to jump the queue, you slide it to the top of the calendar and auto-schedule adapts. You can still export metadata to a master sheet if you're the reporting type, but you aren't living in sheet purgatory to publish. Let's also talk about maximizing a single episode across multiple days without your feed turning into a loop. Day 1 might open with the spicy contrarian take that earned a save. Day 2 can carry a tactical do this in 5 minutes tip from the same conversation. Day 3, a reflective philosophy bit that tells people why you operate the way you do. Day 4, a mini story, the failure and the fix. Same source, 4 distinct vibes, and your week reads like a narrative, not reruns. You set that rhythm inside the calendar once, the rest is copy-paste for future weeks. There are a few edge cases where a quick tweak in post saves the day. If a clip's energy is good but the pacing drags, trim dead air between phrases and let captions drive the cadence. If your guest's audio peaks, auto-leveling can even outspikes, so the subtitle rhythm isn't fighting the sound. If the shot composition is a hair off, recenter the speaker and let the background carry movement. No need to throw it away. If you have recurring segments, cold take, rapid fire, story time, label them with on-screen title badges so your audience learns to anticipate them. This isn't motion graphics bootcamp, it's just smart packaging. If you're running a show and flying solo, here's the literal homework. Take the latest episode, upload it, and walk away for 10 minutes. Come back, pick 8 clips you'd actually post, spend 15 minutes making them yours. Tighter hook, cleaner on-screen title, caption style that feels like you, and drag them into your calendar for the next 4 days. Flip on auto-schedule and don't touch it. When it posts while you're in line for coffee, you'll feel how different this is from the I'll get to it this weekend version. And when you look back at your grid a month from now and you didn't miss a day, you'll understand why people pay for this outcome. If you build for clients, this is a productized service sitting on a silver platter. Package, podcast, shorts, around output and consistency. X clips per week, reviewed and on brand, scheduled across TikTok, IG, shorts. Promise a turnaround SLA, 48 to 72 hours from episode drop to a scheduled calendar. Include smart titles and hashtags. If you want to sell a premium tier, add YouTube descriptions or thumbnail overlays. Clients don't want a folder of files, they want a feed that doesn't miss. Show them the calendar view with next week already laid out, and they'll stop asking how the sausage gets made. And yes, before anyone asks, you can stitch Visid into whatever stack you have. If you love your current scheduler, fine, export and push there. If you prefer to write long-form captions outside, paste them back in. The important part is the center of gravity. Keep your after in one place, so your energy goes into decisions that matter. What to say first, what to emphasize, what to publish when, not into redoing crops because one platform shifted a button. If the tool you use helps you make those calls quickly, you'll stick with it. If it makes you babysit processes, you'll burn out. Let me wrap this with a second real-world pass. just so you can map it to your week. Monday morning, I record for an hour. Before lunch, I drop the file in. After lunch, I skim the batch, make light tweaks, and schedule the week in the calendar. 2 per day, morning and afternoon. Tuesday through Friday, posts go out while I'm doing literally anything else. If something reacts, I'll reply to comments and maybe drag a related clip up in the queue to surf interest. If a brand deliverable needs a slot, I swap it in without tearing up the schedule. By the time the next episode is recorded, I've spent maybe 60-75 minutes total on post-production for the whole week. I'm not special. I just stopped being romantic about editing and got serious about publishing. Bottom line, recording is where your voice lives, but post-production is where your growth happens. The more you make the second half boring in a good way, the more you'll actually ship. Let the tool find the moments. Let the editor make them shine fast. Let the calendar keep you honest. And let auto-schedule do the thing it's supposed to do. Post while you live your life. Once you feel that flywheel, record once, review once, schedule once, you won't go back to stitching subtitles at 1 a.m. You'll have a system, not a hope. And that's the difference between being the person who posts sometimes and the one whose audience quietly doubles this quarter.